Hi, I'm Gary.
And I'm Adam, and we're two dudes.
Taking questions at the White House press conference. You over there?
No, Gary. No, we're not. We're picking. We're two dudes picking.
That's right. Yes, we are two dudes picking. Coming to you with another podcast here in the safe space known as the studio at Adam's house here, which is great.
No, don't show us where they touch you on the dog.
That's right. Yeah, I can't do that. No, I can't do that. So that's okay. But hey, beer is now open. So
What you got?
I have got Lone Star, the official beer of the nation of Texas. Yeah, that's right. So,
Heard they have what is it, tricks or puzzles or something like that on the bottom of the caps of those?
yeah, they sure do. It's actually pretty cool. This one seems a lot more complicated than the last one that we saw.
Mackerel.
But yeah, it's actually pretty cool. And they have on their website, you can punch in the little code that's on there, and it's like a little puzzle solver. It's really, really cool.
Is that like in the product sobriety test, maybe?
It may be. What's funny is I'm sure that there are people out there listening to this and like, well, I've been drinking Lone Star beer since 1965, and I've always known that. And I'm sure you have, But This is actually my first time trying it. It's actually really good. I like it. It's a nice, clean drinker, so good to go.
I doubt that would pass in like a court of law or to the cop that pulled you over. I was able to solve the riddle.
It would not, yeah.
The bottle cap.
Look, it says right there. It's like Russian roulette, right there. Russian roulette. See the hand? Yeah.
I'll just let you drive on the rest of the way home, sir.
That's right. So, what are we talking about tonight?
What are we talking about tonight? Oh, we're talking about alternative picking methods.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Like what? If you just need to expand your shop on eBay, or what you got in mind?
Oh, okay. So it's not where we go, when you're plucking the string on a guitar down, then up, down, then up, down, then okay.
No,
not that alternate picking.
Not guitars, not
gotcha.
banjos.
Okay, yeah.
No, we're two dudes picking.
Yeah, we are two dudes picking, not guitars.
Not guitars. And so alternative picking methods. Mm-hmm. And sometimes let's just say the Goodwill well runs dry.
Yes.
Right? And you got to figure out how to keep the dough rolling, mm-hmm. and keep stuff in your store, active sales. And Goodwill just doesn't have what it takes anymore. And, locally, I should say.
Yeah.
I don't travel too far out of a certain circle of my city.
That's true, yeah.
So sometimes the Goodwill wells does tend to run dry. So we need to figure out other ways to get different stuff.
It does, and I think you make a really good point in the fact that we live in a city that, while it's the second or third largest city in Georgia, depending on how you want to think about it, I think it's like 200,000 residents, which is, it's a moderate-sized city these days, but it's not a major metropolitan area, not like in Atlanta, not like Miami or Dallas or Los Angeles.
Right.
If you're in any of those locations, I'm sure that you have plenty of places to go to the well, so to speak.
Yeah.
It's not so much here. While we do have some, and we have more that come up, it seems like all the time, it's one of those things. We actually just had a thrift store in town close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I assume it was due to lack of sales.
More than likely.
Because it was a full store.
It was.
It couldn't have been because of the lack of donations.
No, not at all. But every time we went in there, if we weren't the only people in there, it was only a couple other people in there with us. And so, when your rent is probably $2,000 a month, and you're a charitable organization, you do want to turn around some money to be able to keep your operation up.
Rent.
Yeah, that's
the
right.
point isn't to pay the rent of a store to keep it open.
No.
You're trying to put the money back towards that charity
that's right.
of whatever it may be. I think this particular store had different charities that it funded for, so it had mm-hmm. multiple platforms, but
yes.
It was a non-profit organization. Mm-hmm. One of those more legit, if you will, thrift stores.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, not one that is going to jack up prices and things like that on item donations. But that's a whole
just
different
to put more money
podcast.
In the CEO's pocket.
That's right. Whole different podcast for a whole different day. But when it comes to it, sometimes the well does run a little bit dry. You go out to the thrift store that you've been to, and how many times have you recently walked in there and you come out with literally nothing? You've scoped the store out, and sometimes you go in there and you even try to buy something. Maybe you're even on the fence about something, but lately I'm even getting to where I'm not even on the fence on a lot of these things, and it's starting to become where I'll literally leave with nothing versus tie my money up in something that's marginal.
So 2-3 years ago, you would probably walk out with an armload.
Oh, absolutely.
Pretty much every time you walked in.
You spend $50 at Goodwill, and that goes a long way.
It
50
does.
bucks. I mean, there's a lot of T-shirts.
But those days, unfortunately, have come and gone.
Mm-hmm.
I think that if you were only shopping at a place like Goodwill, or here locally we have Valley Rescue, and if you're just
Salvation Army, like that, yeah.
if you're just sticking to those type stores, you're running shy on product.
Oh,
and
yeah.
honestly, lots of times it's not because they don't have the product.
Mm-hmm.
Again, like you said, it's a whole different conversation, but they tend to now catch on to what they're doing,
Mm-hmm.
and they try to get more for their product.
Sure.
But so what do we do? What do you do when you have to get, you got to keep the eBay store up and running. You don't want it to literally have zero to sell. Where's the first place you think of?
Right. Well, back in high school, a guy I knew, his senior quote was, "When there are no fish, a crab is a fish."
Okay.
For some reason, it's always resonated with me, and I don't know why. And I think it has more to do with you just make do with what you have. Sometimes you won't have a perfect setup, perfect scenario, but you make something work when it otherwise looks like you can't make it work.
Yeah, you definitely won't go hungry.
That's right. And in this case, I think that some of the things that you can do, first off, check out your local yard sales. And now the weather has gotten warmer all over the country now, officially. Since our last podcast, it wasn't as warm in some places, but now it has gotten warmer in a lot of parts of the country. And so yard sales are going to be happening. People are going to be doing spring cleaning, finally. You have estate sales that will be going on. You have other types of listings like Let Go. You may find some deals on there that people are just trying to get rid of something. Maybe it's a moving sale or something like that. And in those cases, you can pick up those items and then just relist them, on eBay, whatever you need to do.
Yeah. I've had, there's some negatives to those alternatives, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
I think the first one that comes to mind is the Let Go app. It's like Craigslist.
It is.
Ultimately.
It is.
You
Fancy
got to
Craigslist,
be careful of the product.
Right.
Because you don't know, honestly, you don't know if the person you're buying it from is the legitimate owner who has the rights to be selling it.
That is very true. That is very true.
I do have a story of my brother-in-law getting caught up in something like that. Police were involved and stuff like that. He just legitimately purchased the product off of Let Go. And had he not been able to prove the conversation and identify the person he bought it from, and the cop said, yes, that description matches the person we're looking for, but the conversation chat in the Let Go app made a world of difference.
Right.
They didn't take him in for questioning or something.
But he did lose money on that.
He lost the product. He lost everything he put into it.
Yeah, he bought the item, and then he had to the cops confiscated it as stolen property.
Yep.
So he loses his money, he loses the property, he risks going to jail.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that all Let Go transactions are like that. I think, there are some that they're verified through Facebook or Google, stuff like that. There's somewhat ways to verify. There's now feedback rating that Let Go has, which is pretty cool. So I think you would just take it like you would anything else, like a Craigslist transaction.
Yep.
But yeah, and again, most people on Let Go know what something's worth. They've done their research, and I think that's also why we see a lot of the dry up in some of the thrift stores, is because people aren't taking these things to thrift stores anymore. They're snapping a couple of pictures in their driveway or after a yard sale and saying, okay, who wants to come out here and get this for $20?
But
and
that's just
they'll move it that way.
I mean, that's part of the problem. Okay, so what we're trying to do is find something at a lower cost. Although we know what it really goes for, we're hoping to get lucky and strike gold, per se, find a treasure of someone who's trying to get rid of it for less than what it really costs so that we can make a dime.
That's right.
And if they're wanting to get the cost or just a little bit less than what the actual cost is, we're skipping by that option because it's not enough meat on the bone.
That's right. And, even with yard sales, it kind of becomes that in a way. Some yard sales, you can get away with buying stuff cheap because for the most part with the yard sales, people just want to get rid of the stuff.
Yeah,
they
the
want
yard
it
sale,
gone.
you don't have to worry about the fact that somebody in that house is trying to sell you stolen products.
Yes, that's right. That's right. So, especially if you have one of those yard sales where it's like the neighborhood comes together and does one.
I love those.
Or sometimes companies will actually get their employees to do a yard sale day, and that attracts a lot of people to come in,
I love those community yard sales.
Oh, I do too.
You can easily knock
thrift
down
store,
12, 13, 15 yard sales in an hour.
Oh yeah. And and the stuff that you'll find is good stuff. You'll be able to resell it. Again, these people are just looking to get rid of it. If they wanted to take the time and put it on eBay and sell it, they would have done. And what's ironic is they would have made 20 times on their money they did at the yard sale. Right. But let's just face it, people don't want to do that. They want it out and gone, and they're not worried about that piece of it. But there are some other alternatives too besides that. Recently, we went to Ross.
Oh, yeah.
Ross Dress for Less. I don't know how widespread that is all over the country. I know that it's definitely in our part of the country. We don't know how far out people are for this, and we don't know if they have it in Los Angeles County or up in upstate New York, but they definitely have it down here.
Well, the thought process of the store is, even if you don't have a Ross or Marshalls
or TJ Maxx,
the thought process of the store is that they're selling off-the-shelf product that the original store couldn't get rid of.
That's right. Yeah.
So
that's right.
if it's, I don't want to call it overstock per se, but it's stock that the original store couldn't get rid of. So Ross or Marshalls or TJ Maxx bought it for a little bit, and they're just trying to get a little bit more off of everyone.
That's right. They're an accuracy by volume type thing. They're going to take in 10,000 polo shirts, and they're going to make $5 on each one because they bought them at a certain price, and that's how they built their business model, which is great. The thing is trying to find deals at these places. You really need to be in the clearance section. Or what needs to happen is they have seriously undervalued whatever it is, and then you can take advantage of that undervaluation. Remember, it's their job to value the product.
And they put it on the sticker, too.
They put it on the sticker.
What they value it
That's
at.
exactly right. And then what their price is. Yeah. You bought some soccer boots the other day.
You mean soccer cleats?
No, I mean soccer boots.
Cleats.
Yeah, no, boots.
What part of America do you live in?
The best part.
So I bought some soccer cleats, women's soccer cleats.
Yes.
Nike Mercurials. Is
Yeah,
that how you pronounce that?
Yeah, Mercurial Vapors. I think
I got a hold of 2 pair actually, and when I looked them up, they were for sale for $15. And because we were talking about how they write the price on what they value it at on the sticker, they put compared to $60.
Right.
And it was going for $15. So they already undervalued their own.
Right. So you know that there is value to it, at least.
Some.
Right.
I mean, if it was going to sell for 60 on eBay and I spent 15, I'd be less inclined to pick it up.
Sure.
To me, that's not enough of a, 10 times whatever on my money.
Right.
However, this wasn't the case here. I looked up, and it wasn't just 1 pair or 2 pair. It was several sales of these cleats, not boots, cleats, were selling for $110, $115, $120 a piece. Right. Some were lucky to be in like the upper 150, higher 150 or something. But no, if I spend 15 and I can turn it around for 120, I'm buying those every day.
Yeah. You hate the fact they only had 2 pair, right?
I bought every pair they had. In fact, I went to the other Ross on the other side of town just to see if they had more.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong. One of the sizes of it was like a size 11 or 12, and in a women's, that's huge.
Yeah,
that's huge.
Okay, so
I mean, it just is. That's an unusual size.
The night I listed them both was that night I bought them. Came home, took pictures, listed them. One was an 8.5, one was a 12. The first pair, the 8.5s, sold in exactly 42 minutes.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, literally, it's like.
And then the second pair sold this past Sunday. So it took 3 weeks to sell both pair, but I made an average of $115 per.
Yeah, so you took a picture with your camera, waved your magic wand, it sold, and you turned that $15 into $110, $115, something like that.
After tax, tag, and title, and all its fees and expenses, and subtracting everything I put into it, I made $78 a pair. Yeah,
it's not bad. That's not bad at all.
That's a total of like what, $150?
That's right, and this is
almost $160.
And this is shopping at a retail store, not a thrift store, not somewhere that You're going to have to deal with condition issues.
Right.
All of these products are new. They have
No
tags.
pre-owned, no stains, no
That's
rips.
right. Everything is packaged and ready to go. The only difference is that instead of spending $4 for those cleats,
Yep.
in your case, they
Thank
could
you.
be baseball, they could be football, they could be whatever
But they're not
sport they
soccer
play
boots.
in Canada. The fact that you're going to spend a little bit more, but you are going to make that up in the difference. And yours, I think, Nike Mercurial Vapors.
Yeah.
So with Nike, there's a tag on the inside of the shoe that has a code that is specific. Each one of those codes, it's like, I think, a 9-digit code, if I can remember correctly.
It's 6 and then a space and then 3.
Yeah. So,
And what? Okay, I don't know where you're going. Sorry to interrupt.
oh, sorry.
The first 6 represents the shoe and the model. Mm-hmm. The last 3 represent the color.
The color pattern. Okay, yeah. So there's some coding system that they have at Nike, but you could look that code up in eBay and see that exact model, exact style, exact sport, exact color pattern, everything to see what it's selling for on there. And by doing that, you're setting yourself up for success because you don't get your money tied up in something that's marginal. And when I say marginal, I mean, okay, you go in there, you spend $30, it may make 55. That's what it's selling for. That's what it's selling for. So by the time you pay your eBay fees of 10%, by the time you pay your 2% PayPal fee, by the time you spend, $8 or $9 to ship it, because everybody always in California buys everything from the East Coast, right? So it costs the most to ship. You're not really making much money. You're only making about $10 or so.
Well, let's talk about that for just a second.
Okay.
Aren't we in this to make money?
We are in it to make money.
So if you buy for 30 and you can pocket, like after tax tag and title, you can pocket $20 more than what you started with, aren't you making money?
You are. I think here's the thing that you need to ask yourself. And this is for the listeners out there. This is the question you need to ask yourself. How quickly do you want this product to turn around? Because you're right. You're making $20. You're spending 30 to make 20. Are you going to see that 26 months from now? Are you going to see it in 42 minutes? That's a big question. If you can see it in 42 minutes, absolutely, all day, every day, right?
Otherwise, you've got $30 hung up on a pair of shoes, and
That's
it's
right.
not in the form of cash.
Now, if money isn't the issue, for example, if you are comfortable enough in the way that you're picking, and we do it as a hobby, so a lot of our PayPal money eventually gets spent on things like camera equipment, Jeep parts, whatever it is. So in those cases, sometimes I would rather have that $30 there so I could spend it doing something else. But if I'm comfortable, I don't have anything on my radar that I'm looking to spend this money on or whatever. Yeah, sure, I'll plant that seed and I'll let that tree grow. And when it finally does come to fruition, then it's a nice little, almost like a savings account, if you will.
Yeah.
That
So
are kind of tucked away.
I mean, if we were doing this if this were our job, would you go so far as to say that $20 made is worth it?
Yes, without a doubt.
Excellent.
Without a doubt. I mean, when it is your job, when you're talking about bread and butter income, and especially if you're using it as your job, you need to know exactly how much you need to make every single day in sales and profit.
Even if it took you an extra 6 months to get rid of that.
That's right, because in 6 months, that's part of your profit.
Yep. So
that means that as you're growing your eBay business on down the line, you're basically it's almost like investing. It's basically what it is. It's very, very simplistic investing. You're investing in a product that you know is going to sell later for a higher amount. Buy low, sell high. That's what investing is, right? Yeah. So as you go, down the road, your margin will look a lot better once you get to that level. And plus, it gives you more money to spend later. Again, I think we talked about this in the store. I said, are you okay spending $30 to make $30, right? So that means you spend 30, you make 30. So you spend 30, your item sells for 60, you've made $30. Are you okay with that? Most people who are getting into this in sort of the hobbyist, quote unquote, part of it would probably say no, not really, because by the time I take pictures, pay eBay, all this, that's a lot of effort.
You're investing more than $30.
That's right. I'd love to see 4 times on my money, and that's kind of my general rule.
Yeah.
Like, is when I'm at thrift store picking, 4 times on my money or greater, or $25 to $30 or more is generally what I use as a rule of thumb. So, are you okay spending 30 to make 30? Most people go, probably not.
Right.
Are you okay spending 50 to make 50? Now you may start to be tilting that. Would you spend 100 to make 100? Would you spend 1,000 to make 1,000 back? Now you go, okay, it does start to make more sense, when you think about that, So it is just, a lot of it does come down to about how fast the item sells, so you're not tied up in it.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, and I think that's the decision that it's based on the individual.
Yeah. We were talking about alternative places, the yard sales.
Mm-hmm.
I did one time come across a yard sale, a community yard sale. We talked about this before. It was on my not list, Under Armour, right?
Yes.
But at this yard sale, I found 6 shirts that were all Under Armour, good looking shape. They only wanted a quarter a shirt. So I snatched those up.
Of course, yeah, of course.
And even if I could
used.
only sell them for $10 a piece.
That's right.
It's basically, I almost got them for free. I think I even gave, because I had 6, that's $1.50, and I didn't have change. I think I even gave her an extra 50 cents.
Yeah, just
right.
Yeah,
but
buy your kids some ice cream. Something.
I still made at least. I know I made at least $10 a shirt on that transaction. Then you've got to. I think the biggest thing to worry about is the Okay, remind me the. Someone passes away and they're trying to
estate
sell. Estate sales.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I don't know why I couldn't think of that. An estate sale, that to me is a tough deal. That is very difficult to find something worth reselling. Very difficult. I go there, honestly, I find more stuff that's a good value that I would want to keep for myself than I am to resell.
Yeah.
If you don't make it there, say on day one, within the first 3-4 hours, pretty much all the good stuff's going to be gone.
That's right. Well, and similar to that, in a similar vein, another alternate place is flea markets.
Yeah.
There's a big flea market out by my house. I mean, and when I say out by my house, I'm talking 2 miles down the road from my house. We call it Lee County Dirt Mall.
Oh, yeah.
Well, oh, yeah.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah, if you've never been to the South, I encourage you to go to a flea market in the South. It will confirm,
it's a good one.
It will confirm everything you know about the South. But in one shot. The thing is, though, is that there are deals that can be had there, too. I also tend to find a lot of things that I want to keep for myself, like tools and things like that. You really have to kind of know what you're hunting there, because you won't have as much time. It's kind of awkward. You're sitting there with your smartphone looking up something in front of this person, so they know, okay, if this person really wants it, has some value. Kind of takes away your negotiating skills. It's not a fixed price on the shelf, you know. And so
they could tell you the price they want.
That's right.
Higher from the get-go.
Yeah, or
just because they saw you pop that cell phone out to check its real value.
Exactly, and it may be one of those things like, okay, if it's priced at $10, and you say to them, hey, I'll give you 4. And they'll be like, nah, I really can't go that low. Yeah. I'll take 8, or something like that. You lose a little bit of that when maybe they would have taken 4 had they not seen you, start looking things up. But that's kind of the thing, is that it's you just have to know already the valuations of some things. Like one of the things I used to hunt for at the flea markets were old license plates. I used to sell old license plates, on eBay.
Yeah.
Because when somebody has a classic car, they love, as a car show, item, you can put that on the front of your car, when you get to the car show, and it's the year that matches your car, and that's really cool. And people will pay $20, $25 for these.
Huh, I didn't realize
until the thrift stores started catching on to this, and because they go on eBay now, and they look and they see what something is worth, aka what it's listed for, not what it's sold for, and they base their valuation on that.
Remember, that's a whole nother conversation.
It is a whole nother conversation, but the thing is that what you have to do is look outside of that. So if the thrift store wants $7 for that same license plate that you can pick up at the flea market for $2 because it belonged to their old granddad's, he had a 1967 Buick that just sat in the yard, and it was just a big box of his stuff, whatever, and they're just getting rid of it. It's almost like getting it for free in some regards.
Yeah. Well, I got a trick to that. It's I guess it may not even be necessarily my trick. It's just a trick. I act interested because I legitimately am interested.
Sure.
I ask them what they're wanting for it, and then I say, oh man, nah, I just can't. I can't do that
Yeah,
one.
I'm not there. Yeah.
And then I'll walk away for about 10, 20, 30 minutes. And I just have to hope that it's still there when I come back. But when I'm gone is when I look it up. Mm-hmm. And if it is something like I thought, a treasure, you know, one of those pieces of gold in the sand mine or whatever, I'll go back and I'll have that price in mind. I'll have his original price in mind.
Yeah.
And that's when I'll start the haggling. And I'll pretend as though, man, I just couldn't live without it.
Oh, yeah.
Could you just come down just a little bit?
Yeah,
please?
meet me halfway,
Yeah.
that type of thing.
And then that's happened that's
yeah.
worked for me a couple of times. And not every time, obviously, but it does work a couple of times. Then you're lucky, and sometimes you're lucky enough that you just find that piece of gold just sitting right on top of the bucket that nobody else saw. And you can just swipe in there and just pick it up, and they don't even know what they have.
Oh, yeah.
So you get it for cheap. 511, good brand. It was one of our hot picks before.
Yeah,
One time
absolutely.
I picked up at least two. I can't remember if it was 2 or 3. It was at least 2 pair of 511 pants. They only wanted $2 a pair.
That's insane.
It was great, man.
You have to wonder where they got them. I mean, how did they not
It was
know?
it was in one of those Walmart plastic bins, just full of pants.
Huh.
But I don't know. Maybe they cleaned out somebody's linen closet or something. I don't know. I don't know where they got it from. 2 pair of 511s. I kept digging. I
bet you
dug through
did.
the whole thing.
I bet you did.
I think it was just 2 pair.
You know, another thing that you can do, you know, especially when it comes to that, is one thing with flea markets is that you can do what they call bundling, where you buy maybe 2 or 3 items from the same person, and you know, one is valued high, you know, one is valued sort of mid-range, and you may be able to get the better deals on the other items if you buy this other item. So you say, hey, look, you know, I know you want, you know, I do this with tools all the time. I'll say, okay, you know, you want $15 for this ratchet. Tell you what, I'll do $20. Throw in this extension set and these 2 wrenches, and I'll do that. You know, so now you're bundling. Now it's like, okay, I've got a little bit more value for my money out of these things. Now I'm leaving with more tools for my money. I feel like I've won. He's making more sales. He wants to get rid of his stuff. He feels like he won. So, you know, it's a good way. It's a good sales tactic, or a good negotiating tactic to do that sometimes. So
Yeah, that is a good one.
yeah, but if you have flea markets, you know, get out to those. I mean, a lot of the vendors tend to stay the same. I know down here they do. You get a lot of the same folks that will show up, because you can almost tell where their little booth is going to be in the dirt mall.
Have you ever tried to sell at the flea market yourself?
You know, I have not as an adult. My parents sold at flea market one time. This is after we had just moved here, and they had a bunch of stuff to sell, so I helped them do that. But I've never, not as an adult, have I ever sold, because I always feel like people want yard sale prices for what you have, and I'm not willing to get rid of my stuff at that price. I just, if I have a lot
It's an adventure all in its own, dude.
Oh, it does. You went to the dirt mall, didn't you?
Oh, I sold there.
I know you did. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that's the thing, though, is that there's going to be, if you have inventory that just absolutely will not sell, it just won't sell on eBay. No matter how many times you marked it down, shoot, take it out there, just get some money back on it. Get anything. Heck, getting the money back for what you paid for it at the thrift store. Maybe, you know, you'll have success, and then you can go buy something that actually does sell.
That was exactly my thought process.
Yeah.
I had, let's say, maybe 100 items that I had just over time collected that just never sold, despite, like you said, no matter how many times I discounted it. So I just took them out there. My brother-in-law and I went out there. We got a booth and split the booth, and it only cost us $4 a piece.
Right.
And I sold for 4 or 5 hours. I made $130. But here's the thing. Now that is cash in my pocket, not a shirt on a hanger in my closet, not selling.
Not selling, and not, you know, counting against your item count in eBay and stuff like. If you get 100 items or 1,000 items for free or whatever it may be, it's not counting as renewals of those items. So you can actually move on to things that do sell. And that's, I think, part of it along the eBay journey, is to refine your inventory to where you are moving product quickly. Because, you know, who wants, I have, eBay tells me all the time, it's like, oh, this has been sitting in your, for sale for 16 months and you've had no activity. Well, maybe if you, eBay, bumped at the top of some search results
Don't you just love eBay's smart-ass email reminders?
Oh, yeah,
Sorry.
I love it. Oh, I love it. Yeah. What kills me, too, is that I'll have 4 or 5 watchers on it,
Yeah.
but no activity? Really? 4 or 5 watchers in 16 months. Something tells me this. I mean, obviously, people are looking at it and saving it, so there must be something to the fact that I'm not getting any traction as far as a sale goes.
So what would they consider activity if someone clicking on it to view it or someone watching it, adding it to their watch list isn't considered activity? And if you sold it, would they even have a activity problem
Like
with it
there's
anymore?
because then it's a final activity, isn't it?
Exactly.
They can't get any more final than
Okay,
that.
you got to disagree with that one wholeheartedly. I mean, clicking on it is activity. A view, in my case, I mean, in my opinion, a view, just a click view would be activity.
Yeah, an impression. I think they call it impression.
Yeah.
I don't even know what the hell impressions are these days. Like, I look at it, right? And I see this on my Twitter feed. And I know somebody out there listening to this, oh, you moron, this is what impressions are. And maybe I need to Google it. But, you know.
I could just tell you the answer to that one.
It's like you had 4,000 impressions this month. Did I impress somebody?
It's not talking about the hot girl across the street.
I guess not. Not in this case. Yeah, but yeah,
Impressions means it just showed up on somebody else's feed.
that's fantastic. That's great. So they searched for it and they scrolled through it.
Yeah.
I still don't understand how that benefits me. What I want
It means
is
you're
for them.
putting quality content out there
I want them to
with
look
the
at
right
it.
hashtag.
That's right.
Hashtag.
I want them to look at it. I want them to watch it if they need to, and I want them to buy it and then pay for it. I don't care what they do outside of that. Stop tracking that and show me what is your activity. Now, they do have a click-through activity tracker now. I think it's part of this new growth. There's a little growth tab out there.
On Twitter?
No,
Oh,
on
on eBay.
On eBay.
Okay.
But yeah, Twitter does the same stupid impression thing, you know. Yeah, and I think that you can look at your stats and see what kind of impressions. Mine are always like, you know, you got 0.76 part of a view on average. Seriously, I'm not. I don't care. I don't care. If my product isn't selling in a week, I'm trying to move it. I'm trying to do something because I don't want to keep up with it. I always want money coming in, obviously. So I'm not interested. I mean, if I ran a business, maybe these statistics would be better if I had 20 grand in sales a month. I'm sure that some of those figures would be relevant. However, I think it still comes down to the behavior of the person that goes, I want that. I mean, I can't force their hand any other way.
You know
make
what?
it attractive.
It's just kind of hypocritical that you're saying this, and I'll tell you why.
Go ahead.
You were raving about the new eBay store front page or something with all your listings and all the wonderful graphs and the way it displays information that helps you understand what's going on. And I'm over here thinking, man, I'm still saving the original old school one link in my favorites so that I can not lose it, and I can still see it the way I want to see it. And
well, it's just actually, this is a part of a new thing that they're testing, and it says.
And
beta,
I'm not seeing any of this.
It's been saying beta for like the last.
You know
2
why
years
I'm not seeing any of this? Because I still save the original store listing. In my favorites, and I go to it every time.
Now, there is some useful data in there, but there's others that, again, if you're below a certain selling limit, I mean, I had 0.6 views this week over this particular item. I don't even know how that's possible.
0.6?
Maybe on average. Maybe it's a daily count. I don't know. It's
got to be a daily count.
It must be a daily count. I don't even know. But anything below a 1...
It was clicked on every other
anything
day.
Below 10, don't even tell me about it. You know, don't tease me like that. You know, and then they'll have little arrows like this has gone up, this statistic's gone up, this statistic's gone down. Oh, what did it go from 0.05 to 0.06? That's awesome.
Well, here's the thing: you didn't change anything about that listing.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Yeah. That's the thing. I put it out there. I throw my rod in the water. I put it on the bank. I put my hat over my eyes, and I hope the fish bites.
To
That's
bite.
right. You know, there are other people. I'm sure that they do other things. Plus, let's also be realistic about it. You know, eBay does tend to favor big sellers, and they bump their results up to the top. This is a conversation for a whole new podcast. As you can see, we are ranting about this because it's frustrating sometimes.
Yeah, I don't think that people who have hundreds of items, maybe even thousands of items listed in their store, though, are busy tweaking onesies, twosies, here and there, trying to get a better outlook on the search results.
No, they're one and done. They
do it from the beginning, just like we do.
Yeah.
We make sure, just what we've been preaching the whole time, get it right the first time, And the only thing you really should be adjusting is the price if it doesn't sell in the amount of time you were hoping it would sell for.
Yeah, make sure you spell all your words right, stuff like that. You'd be amazed. I did a typo one time on one particular shirt. It was Arc'teryx, that brand. It's Arc'teryx. I misspelled it because it's not the easiest thing to spell just offhand. There's a lot of X's and Y's in there. There's a lot of letters that don't make sense together.
Silent one.
Yeah, that's right. So I think there's an apostrophe in the middle of it too. Yeah. And I misspelled it. And it's funny because I was wondering why this wasn't getting any sales. And then I corrected the spelling and boom, it sold that day. All right, so Adam, I think now is the time for the segment that we like to call Hot or Not.
Hot or not.
Hot or Not.
Hot or not.
So this week, and for those of you who don't know, our Hot or Not section is going to be a product that each one of us, loves and hates as far as our sellability and our experience with the product. So,
That's right.
Adam, what is your hot item
All right, my hot item.
or brand?
Brand. It's Lacoste.
Okay.
You heard of Lacoste?
Yeah, the French clothing company, isn't
Alligator?
it? Yeah, well, Alligator, yeah. So, 70s thing. It's actually kind of a retro throwback thing. They've been in business
Sometimes
for a
you can
long
get some
time.
of the older ones still too.
Yeah, and those are, really, really valuable if you can find those.
Yep.
In good
So
condition.
we mentioned in a previous podcast that I'm pretty good at Lacoste. I mean, I've been able to easily identify a fake because it is one of those products that people are faking out
sure.
there.
People
Like
fake
Nike,
everything.
people
Yeah.
fake Nike, people fake Reebok, people will fake Lacoste. So you got to know how to find the right one. We'll talk about that in another episode. But Lacoste is a great brand to resell. And I promise you, it will resell every single time. You price it just right for its size and its condition, and it will sell.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, so Adam, with that being said, what is your not?
My not is going to be brand Levi Strauss.
Okay.
And I'm going to specifically go into the blue jeans.
Okay.
They used to be one of those you could just pick up for regular price, $4.50, $5, depending on which store you went into, even in pre-owned condition. Here's the deal now. They started special pricing them, which we're going to talk about later. Because they special price them, you're not going to be able to get as good a return on your money on them. And they're just flooded on eBay these days.
That's right, yeah.
And you want to, again, we've said it before, you want to be one of those sellers whose product is at the top of the list in search results. And when there's thousands to choose from, it's very, very difficult for yours to not only be at the top of search results, but still be high enough in the price that you're going to make a good return and it's worth your money. And Levi Strauss is not that anymore.
Yeah. Now, mind you, this does not take into account vintage Levi Strauss. Anything vintage, by the way, you pick it up. If it's vintage t-shirts, jeans, or whatever, but you have to know it's vintage. That's the thing. You have to have an eye for it. You have to do a lot of research for it. Know what the tags look like. Because vintage Levi's actually will fetch. But I know what you're saying.
If you got if you know what they are, I don't think I can pick out a vintage pair.
You would have to study the brands, the tags, and all this other stuff, the labels. But I know what you're saying is that in this day and age, the Levi's produced today, where they used to be profitable because you could sell them, for pretty good markup margin.
Spin five on them, sell them for $25.
Yeah, exactly. It's just not there anymore because now the thrift stores want $12 for a pair of 501s, and because of that, it's just what are you gonna do? There's no money there. There's no meat on the bone.
Nope.
So,
all right, Gary, you got your hot item.
Yes, my hot item is a golf brand, actually, and it's a golf brand. It's called FootJoy. It's usually abbreviated FJ on the shirts, stuff. And they're famous mostly for their polo shirts and their golf cleats, right?
Yes.
So that's kind of their market, what they're really good at. Anytime I see their shirts, I usually buy them because they, will easily sell for, $20 to $25 every single time. Actually, so one this week. It was from a golf club very close to my house, as a matter of fact. And I picked up the shirt for a few bucks and ended up selling it for $25. So that was a good thing, A lot of the times you'll see these golf shirts because they are such a popular brand within the golf community and one of those more quality brands. A lot of tournaments and a lot of golf clubs, courses, different things like that will have them make their shirts with their logos on it. Some people actually try to collect shirts from different golf clubs all over the country. Obviously, some golf clubs are a little bit more desirable. If you found a FootJoy shirt from Pebble Beach, I'm sure that would probably be a little bit more desirable than one from your local course down the road. So it's a really great brand. They also make windbreaker jackets. They make hats. They make everything golf, basically. They make pants. So I think I've sold actually the gamut of their products, and I've never been disappointed.
So you will pick up anything FootJoy if it meets the necessary minimum requirements of a good product?
Yes, generally. Now, I'll tell you this, though. I will say that the more specialized it tends to get, like if it's a certain tournament that was played and it was played 4 years ago, I may not get that one because of the fact that maybe someone's not looking for that unless they just want a FootJoy shirt. Yeah. But if it's a certain golf course, that's a different story, or if it's a tournament from that golf course. If for some reason it's from the Masters or from the U.S. Open, that would be a completely different story altogether.
All right. FootJoy, that's your hot.
That's the hot.
So then what do you have for a not?
This one actually pains me to say because I really actually like the brand. I really do. I like it personally. And it's not in new condition, but in used condition is Salt Life. Right?
Oh, wait a minute now. Yeah, Salt Life, it's got a good reputation though.
It does have a good reputation if you find it new.
Okay.
If you find it used, it doesn't have as much because I think with a lot of these shirts, the Salt Life shirts, they tend to get worn a lot. People will wear them to the beach. They'll wear them as their sort of summer outfit. They'll go to the pool with them. They'll go boating on the lake. So they tend to get a lot of wear in them really quickly. Now, some of the designs are pretty cool that they do. Obviously it's more of a beachy, fishing type theme to it. That's why in new condition, I think that really, really does. You really get good value, but you have to find it on the cheap. I think I found one. It was a shirt I picked up for a couple of bucks. T-shirt. I think I sold it for 20. Again, it's one of those that you can easily sell, and that was in brand new condition.
Yeah.
If you have a used shirt, good luck getting $5-6 for it.
Okay.
For some reason, it just doesn't hold up there. People would rather just buy one new.
That's a shame. That's another one of those that's just falling off the ladder, off the radar.
Yeah, and it's funny because that used to be really, really high on the pole, and then all of a sudden it sort of dipped down. Now it's coming back a little bit, but as far as used, it's not there. It's like Guy Harvey shirts, all the rage back in the day. These shirts would cost you, $30, $35 before T-shirts cost you $30 or $35. And now it's like, okay.
Everybody has one.
Everybody has one.
Everywhere.
They're faded, again, too much time in the sun. You're not going to get anything out of it, especially if it's used.
I think I still got 1 or 2 Guy Harvey T-shirts in my closet.
Oh, yeah.
Ones that I picked up some time ago that just haven't gone anywhere.
You take it to the flea market.
I refuse to sell it for $4.
Yeah. I know, because you may have spent a little bit more on it too, because it was Guy Harvey, and that's kind of a thing. But I don't know. So that's my not.
All right, Gary, it's about time to wrap this thing up, don't you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think we pretty much covered, all the different alternate picking methods that you can do when it comes to visiting other stores, yard sales, and why you do it, strategies behind it. So, but for you, the listener, please like. Subscribe, thumbs up on YouTube. Two Dudes Picking is the YouTube channel, and iTunes. Leave us a positive review on iTunes.
That's right.
SoundCloud.
And don't forget, if you got any questions you want to send to us, you can email us at twodudespicking@gmail.com. We'll make sure to respond to anything you ask.
That's right. Maybe even ideas for the next show. Any questions that you may have, topics you want covered, more than happy to hear it. So.
Tell us some stories. What have you found out there and you sold for a major profit? Just let us know.
That's right. Yeah, we'd love to hear about it.
All right. You guys, take it easy. See you next time.
See you next time.